What's up everyone, PersNikity here, welcome back to the Uncharted 3 Brutal Difficulty walkthrough. This is Chapter 22, the Dreamers of the Day, and basically right off the bat, you're probably going to get killed by this asshole. That's okay, obviously you're going to get a checkpoint right here. So what you're going to want to do is right off the checkpoint, kill that guy, and then run straight over to where he was standing and kill this guy. And the important thing here is that we are standing to the right of a pillar right now. And that's because way off in the distance there is an enemy with a machine gun that can very easily shoot you if you're standing in a different location. So by standing here, we're in a pretty safe spot. The enemies can easily get to us, and the only enemy that we don't have to worry about is the one that is the biggest threat, which is the guy with the machine gun that's way off in the distance. So we're actually going to save him for last. So you're basically just going to stand here. Those first two guys are the hardest ones to kill, and then from there your job becomes significantly easier. Now, I entered the chapter with a sniper rifle because I felt like that was the best approach, but it's actually not necessary. You can do this with the Gmal, you can do this with a pistol. The only weapon you really don't want to have here is a shotgun, so take that as you will. But a good weapon to have is the Tau Sniper. From this point on, you're really just going to want to have a Tau in your inventory at all times possible. And now you see this is the enemy I was talking about that's way off at a distance, and he has a standard machine gun, so those are always your biggest threat. And you'll notice how I have the Tau pistol. Like I said, you're basically going to want to keep that weapon in your inventory for the rest of the game. Obviously, running out of ammo is going to hinder that, but there is ammo lying around, and it's just the weapon you're going to want to go with. Now, if you already have a sniper, I'm going to recommend you keep the sniper. If you don't have the sniper, you can actually get one by going up this ladder. So you'll see that there's actually a ladder right here. There's a ladder that you can take to go up, but I'm going to skip it for now. Enemies are going to spawn in this room here, so go ahead and get ready. And now I'm just going to go to town because remember, I have the Tau, I have grenades, and I have a sniper rifle, so it's really just a matter of killing all of these guys. It's really nothing difficult here. Just go ahead and use alternative cover from this doorway here. There's going to be a number of enemies on the bridge. So one strategy you can do that you see right there is these enemies tend to throw grenades a lot. So anytime you see one prepping a grenade, go ahead and shoot them so that they drop the grenade, and if you're lucky, the explosion might take out more than one person because, like I said, they're all kind of in close proximity. But so yeah, this is Chapter 22. It is the last chapter of the game. And thank goodness, you know, Uncharted 3 on Brutal is definitely really hard. I'd say, in my opinion, I would say the first game is the hardest, the third game is the second hardest, and the second game is the third hardest. At the beginning of the walkthrough, that's not what I said. At the beginning of the walkthrough, I said that it goes in increasing order. So Uncharted 1 is the hardest, 2 is the second, and 3 is the third. But I don't know. This is my second time playing this game on Brutal, and my opinions have changed. For some reason, I just had a much harder time with this game than I had with Uncharted 2. So I got to change my opinion, and I'm going to say this one is the second hardest game to beat on Brutal. But fortunately, this chapter is not that difficult. So Chapter 21 was probably the hardest. What you're going to want to do is stock up on ammo and then run up here, but instantly take cover. So run, trigger those two enemies, and then take cover here, and you'll see that they actually automatically get killed by an unknown figure who's hiding in that tower over there. And I forgot who it was, so I was actually I was thinking it was an enemy. I thought maybe somehow one of the enemies shot the other enemies, but that's not what happened. So once you're ready, once you have all the ammo you need and the grenades, again, I'm just kind of looking around like an idiot, but once you have everything you want, go ahead and go into that tower to trigger a cutscene, and then we'll continue on with the rest of the gameplay.
That you, kid? Oh, thank God. You all right? Man, I had a hell of a time. What's the matter with you?
How do I know you're real? Ow!
That real enough for you? Don't ever Point a gun at me again.
I saw them shoot you. Right after the eclipse.
What? What eclipse? Look, kid, you went nuts right after you drank from that fountain. It's the water. That's what destroyed the city. Not the wrath of God. The whole water supply is tainted with some sort of hallucinogenic agent. Must have drove everyone mad.
That's what Marlowe and Talbot are after.
Oh, man, yeah. Remember, Cutter said they controlled their enemies through fear. This'll do it. In spades. But, wait, it doesn't make any sense. How do they think they're getting the water out of here?
No, it's not the water. It's what's in the water.
Come again?
Listen, just bear with me for a sec. Salim told me that Aram was cursed when Solomon imprisoned the evil spirits of the jinn inside a vessel of brass, and then cast it into the depths of the city.
A genie in a bottle.
I know, it sounds pretty crazy.
So you reckon that's why Elizabeth and Dee sent Francis Drake out here in the first place?
Yeah. It wasn't treasure they were after. It was power. Only once Drake realized what he'd been sent for, he abandoned the mission. He lied to the Queen, told her he didn't find anything, and then hid all traces of his voyage. Rewrote history.
Well, who are we to argue with Sir Francis? When you say we head down there and end this thing? Once and for all.
Alright, so the good news is, Sully is back. It turns out that when Drake drank from the fountain in the last chapter, he actually ingested some of that hallucinogenic drug, which is why he saw that eclipse happen, and more importantly, why he thought he saw Talbot shoot Sully. And I'll be honest, I think most people, when I first played this game, I thought Sully was really dead, because at the time, it was believed that this was going to be the last Uncharted game. No one thought there was going to be an Uncharted 4, so I kind of thought they were going to go out with a bang and they were going to kill Sully off. So when I saw that, I really thought he was dead, and it wasn't much of a surprise to me. But needless to say, I was thrilled to see that he wasn't actually killed, because Sully is just a fantastic character, and as you know, he is going to obviously be a relevant character in Uncharted 4. So it's good to have him back. It's a good thing that was all one big hallucination. And also, it turns out you can think about it like the jinn that we were fighting were also a hallucination, because in this chapter we don't have to fight them. So that's only in chapter 21. So that's kind of interesting to see that the supernatural effect of this game was actually all one big hallucination, because as you see here, and as you saw earlier in this chapter, the enemies are just standard enemies. There's no more supernatural component to them. Anyway, you're going to be on the upper deck in this room here, and there's only one enemy down below that you have to shoot right away. And then what you're going to want to do is jump down towards the back of this room and then take cover behind one of these pillars, because as soon as you land down here, a couple more enemies are going to spawn. Now you'll notice I no longer have the Tau pistol, which is unfortunate, but you are going to be able to pick one up in a little bit. So as soon as you get the opportunity, do make sure that you pick up that weapon. It's not necessary. There are a couple weapons that at certain points are necessary in this game, but for this circumstance, having the Tau is not required, and having the sniper rifle is not required. It's just that, in my opinion, those are some of the best weapons in the game, and they'll make your life way easier. But of course, if you are favored to a different weapon, then by all means use the gun use the gun that you're most comfortable with. But you saw right there, once I killed the enemy, I was able to pick up his Tau, and now I'm just going to go ahead and use it on these guys, which I actually didn't have to, because those guys both had red laser sight weapons, so you could actually kind of get up close to them, and you could possibly even melee them, or perhaps what I should have done is picked up a regular pistol, killed the guys, and then picked the Tau back up. But unfortunately, I wasn't thinking that far ahead. Anyway, there's going to be two guys that come up to that little barrier right there, so go ahead and just take care of them. The sniper rifle is always a good weapon because it's pretty much a one-hit kill every single time. And then obviously you can shoot weapons that are far ways away. And in this chapter, that's actually going to come into play quite a bit. And that will happen, you know, a little later on during one of the larger firefights. The only problem is what's going to happen is later this whole city is basically going to start falling apart, which means the screen is going to be shaking a lot. And while the screen's shaking, it makes it harder to use the sniper rifle, as you can imagine. Now anyway, you're going to run over here. You're going to see a cut in the video. You'll get a checkpoint here. As soon as you spawn, shoot this guy over there. And that part's really tough because you have to shoot him before he's able to shoot his weapon. Because the thing is, he shoots a grenade launcher, and what'll happen is he'll shoot the grenade launcher at you, and then the explosion will kind of force you out of cover, and then while you're forced out of cover, these three guys are going to tear you apart without a problem. So that's probably the hardest part of this fight, is you really just have to shoot that grenade launcher guy the second you spawn. You don't have a second to spare, so that's the hardest part. But the good news is, like I said, you do get a checkpoint right at the beginning of this fight, so it's not the end of the world. You know, it just might take you a couple tries. Now that big guy there, you don't want to pop up and shoot him because these two guys in the background are going to make that pretty difficult. But he tends to throw a lot of grenades, so just use the grenade throwback technique. And then unfortunately with those two guys, eventually you are going to just have to pop up and shoot one of them. It's not easy, but it's just something that needs to be done. And then once you kill one of them, killing the second one is a lot easier. So you see right there, I took him out, and for the moment, things seem clear. It seems like you're done with this fight, but don't let your guard down, because as soon as you move forward, as soon as you go into this room, another enemy is going to spawn, and a few enemies are going to spawn outside of the room as well. So pay attention to what I do here. I'm going to run in the room, and I'm going to immediately drop down and take cover in this little pit right here. And you're going to see that there's an enemy that runs in right here. So you got to be ready for that, and then just go ahead and shoot him. And from here, your job becomes easier. And again, like I said, it becomes significantly easier if you have a sniper rifle, because there's going to be 3 enemies up on this ledge, and you can actually shoot 2 of them from in this building. So if you position yourself correctly, you can shoot them through the window, as you see me doing. There's one, and he actually dropped his sniper, so I might be able to pick up that ammo. And then the second one is going to be just outside of this corner here, so you can see him standing up there. These two aren't much of a problem. I think it's the last one that spawns that's the hardest to kill, because he has a grenade launcher. Or maybe it was that guy. So you see here, I just wasted 2 Tau bullets because I was panicking. I really didn't want this guy to kill me. And he does. He has an RPG. So that guy is a big threat, because that RPG, that's a one-hit kill if he makes contact, or even if he shoots it anywhere near you. So that guy is a bit harder to kill. And then unfortunately, like I said, I wasted 2 Tau bullets on him, which is not what I would have preferred, but it's just something I got to deal with. So for now, you might want to try to find as much sniper ammo as you can. And maybe one of these guys even has a Tau, but for the time being, as you make your way onto this bridge, 2 more enemies are going to spawn across the way. So go ahead and just use alternative cover and take them out. Really, those guys aren't a problem, as long as you're expecting them. If you're not expecting them, then they're very dangerous. And here, you see I'm going to pick up the grenade launcher. So honestly, normally I like the sniper rifle more, but the grenade launcher is going to come in handy in this section. And so trust me when I say you're going to want to pick that up, because it turns out that the next firefight, there's actually going to be a sniper rifle in that fight. So if you pick up the grenade launcher, you get the best of both worlds. You can use the launcher, and then you can use the sniper rifle once the launcher runs out, whereas if you use the sniper rifle, well then obviously you have no chance to use the grenade launcher. And I'm telling you now, the firefight that I'm talking about, it is going to be helpful to have a grenade launcher. Now once again, it's going to seem like you're in the clear, and you're going to go up these stairs here, and you're going to make your way through this cave, but you're going to want to get ready to retreat because someone's going to throw a grenade at you. So you got to be ready for that. That's a big theme in this chapter, is every time something looks clear, it's usually not clear. So the game likes to trick you. It likes to make you think you can run forward, and then you run forward and you die almost immediately. So make your way up this staircase kind of slowly. There's going to be 2 enemies at the top, and unfortunately they have the high ground, so that makes this a little tougher. But you should be able to take them out relatively easily. They're not that strong or anything, so just go ahead and finish that off, and then you're going to approach this box.
Let's see what they're up to.
definitely going into the water.
Hey. Sweet. I'm holding on to this.
Alright, and so this is the last easy section of the chapter. Go ahead and stock up on, actually don't stock up on the shotgun. Keep the grenade launcher, definitely. And go ahead and go over to the switch here, and you're going to open this gate, and what's going to happen is we are going to approach a pretty significant cutscene. And after that cutscene, that's when all hell kind of breaks loose, because the city's going to start kind of falling apart, as is typical with Drake and his adventures. The city's going to start collapsing, and so we're going to have to make our way out of the city while also battling tons of Marlowe's men. So go ahead and make your way across this bridge, trigger the cutscene, and then we'll continue on with the challenging gameplay.
Careful! Lift it gently.
You gotta be kidding me.
We gotta take that thing out. Any ideas?
Well, they sure as hell got us outnumbered. Let's split up. Try to flank them.
Yeah, better odds that way. Damn it, where is he? Sully! Sully! No!
We've gotta go! Run!
Come on, son. Get up. Come on. Please tell me you didn't swallow any of that water.
I don't think so. Jesus. This is why we can't have nice things.
Come on. We gotta move.
Alright, so this is where things get really tough. Right off the spawn, go ahead and shoot that guy. Pull out the grenade launcher, shoot this guy, and then shoot up at that guy. And you're going to want to try to hit him head on because he also has a grenade launcher. And the problem is if he hits you with it, you're going to get forced out of cover, and then the other enemies are going to make mincemeat out of you. So that's just something that comes with practice, being able to hit that guy first try or second try, because as you can see, he is kind of far off in the distance. So it is tough. It is tough. It's just something that's going to come with practice. Now this is a really important step. You're going to want to run up to this platform here, and as soon as you do that, more enemies are going to spawn far off in the distance. And so what you're going to want to do is pull out your sniper rifle, and you're going to want to kill the one on the right as fast as you can. And the good news is, if you're able to kill him, then you can kill all the guys on the left much easier. Because what happens is, if you're not able to kill that guy, then you have enemies both on the left and right, and that makes it nearly impossible to use alternative cover. So again, you might want to rewind that clip to see exactly how I did it, but basically what I did was I cleared out all the enemies on the right first, then I sprinted up to trigger the next wave of enemies, and then out of that next wave of enemies, one of them runs to the right, and you want to snipe him as fast as possible, so that then there's no more enemies on the right side, and you can focus only on the enemies on the left, which, again, is still going to be a difficult task. This fight here probably took me like 20 minutes. I'd say I died probably 8 to 12 times. Pretty tough. It doesn't seem like it'd be that tough, but it's pretty tough. But you can take solace in the fact that this is probably the last difficult fight to the game, and then the rest is all just pretty simple. So you can see there's one guy left. You don't want to run up too far because you can still trigger more enemies. So once I take out that guy, now I'm going to move up. And so I'm going to go ahead and switch the sniper for the Gmail just so I can have more ammo. And then I'm going to immediately take cover behind this thing here because as you can see, 2 more enemies are going to spawn. Unfortunately, I don't have a grenade here, and that makes me feel kind of naked because these guys are just begging to be thrown a grenade at. So that's why I kind of shimmied cover. But then you can see they tried to rush me, so that's when I retreated back. And then boom, just blind fire it. Good to go. Threat is eliminated. And that's it. That's all the guys you have to worry about in this part. You can pick up another Tau sniper. Like I said at the beginning, that's the gun you're pretty much always going to want to have in your inventory if you can help it. So make sure you pick that up. And then as for your secondary weapon, anything really works. I would recommend using an assault rifle, but anything works for the upcoming parts. It's really dealer's choice. So go ahead and pick whatever weapon you feel most comfortable with. And we're getting really close, so we have one more small thing to do. You're going to come to the top of this elevator here, and there's going to be 2 guys, and one of them's pretty much going to rush you right away. And as soon as you kill him, you're going to want to take cover. You will get a checkpoint at the top of that elevator, so if they're able to kill you, don't worry. You don't have to do that whole fight over again. You'll just respawn at the top of the elevator. And now all we have to do is we just have to climb our way up this tower, and there's really only one enemy to worry about, and as long as you know, as long as you're expecting it, he shouldn't be much of a threat. But if you're not expecting it, he can easily kill you, and it's actually really annoying because it's hard to see him, but once you figure out where he is, it gets much easier. So you're gonna go up this wheel here, and instead of climbing up, so you're gonna see the enemy right there. That's one of the enemies I was talking about. So instead of climbing right up, we're just gonna kind of sit here for a second. And now that he's gone, I'm gonna peek over here, and now you see that another enemy emerges right here. And that guy shot me in the back like 4 times and killed me. So it's very important to just hang there for a second and let him come out. And then there's gonna be a guy across the way with a grenade launcher, but luckily we have enough cover to where he's not much of a threat. Of course, like I said, if you don't see him, if you start climbing this ladder, he's gonna shoot you in the back. So as long as you know where the enemies are gonna come from, you should be fine. And then this is the last little difficult part. I think this is actually the last enemy of the game besides the final boss. So he's going to be up here, and you don't want to climb up the ladder because obviously he's going to probably shoot you while you're climbing. So you're just going to hang out here for a second and kind of just stand here trying to lure him out. And then sure enough, there he is. And now that we know where he is, we can get the proper angle on him and finish him off. And like I said, I think this is actually the final enemy of the game. So go ahead and take him out. I don't know how he survived that shot. But yeah, so go ahead and climb this ladder. I don't believe there's any... Okay, never mind. There is one more guy that I forgot about. So go ahead and take cover behind this thing here. Just wait a couple seconds, and an enemy is going to emerge at the top of these stairs. So I'm going to go ahead and just throw a grenade up there. If you don't have a grenade, just, again, find the right angle and take him out. But anyway, go to the top of these stairs. That will trigger a pretty important cutscene, and then we can continue on with the end of the game.
You!
Drake!
Mono! I can't reach!
Come on, kid. I'll pull you up.
Nathan! Drake! Are you worthy of the name? Earn this, as Francis earned it from Elizabeth. Prove your greatness.
I got nothing to prove.
Hurry! Give me a hand.
You can't just let her die!
The hell he can't! Nate, give me your goddamn hand!
Here! Grab it!
What the hell are you doing?
I can't.
It's no good! Get the hell out of there!
Hold on! No!
Nate!
No!
Come on!
Run!
Alright, so with that cutscene, that pretty much wraps up Uncharted 3. All we have to do now is the final boss fight against Talbot. And honestly, the game has been kind of training you for this fight the entire time. So this fight is going to be a hand-to-hand combat fight. There's no guns involved or anything. The only difference is Talbot's going to have a knife, and his attack sequences are a little different. But it's really just going to be the same strategy. You're just going to kind of button mash the counter button, the triangle button, and every time you dodge one of his attacks, you'll kind of throw him off guard, and that's when you can get a couple punches in there. It is kind of tough because a lot of the times he'll grab you, and when he grabs you, you have to mash the circle button. Really the only hard part is it just kind of tires out your fingers, in all honesty. And, you know, in my opinion, this is my only complaint with Uncharted 3, is I just don't find the bosses intimidating. Marlowe and Talbot are two of the least interesting enemies in the entire Uncharted franchise, and it's a real shame because the rest of the game is so good, but it's just, like, in Uncharted 1, we had to fight Navarro, and he was a pretty intimidating guy. In Uncharted 2, we had to fight Lazarevich, and he was the best enemy of the franchise, in my opinion. And now you see, like, Marlowe just didn't really do anything. Like, she was just a powerful woman that had a bunch of people at her command, but she really didn't serve much of a threat, or like a direct threat. And then Talbot here, Talbot's just lame, you know? Talbot's just like her loyal second in command, and the fact that he's actually taking the time to fight us instead of running away from this collapsing city, that kind of just speaks to how stupid of an enemy he is. So, like, that's my only problem with the game, is the enemies. Marlowe and Talbot are just not interesting, they're not intimidating, and honestly, this boss fight isn't very fun. You know, this is my least favorite part of the game, is these annoying fist fight sections, and to have to do this for the final fight, it's really kind of annoying. Nevertheless, we do have to get through it, so what you're going to want to do in terms of strategy is basically just keep mashing the triangle button, and you know, just counter all of his attacks, and every time you counter one of his attacks, you're going to just try to get a couple punches in there. A lot of the times he's going to grab you, and when he grabs you, you're going to want to make sure you mash the circle button. But you see here, this attack that he keeps doing, the problem with Brutal is it doesn't tell you if you need to press triangle or circle. You have to figure it out for yourself. So you're gonna have to kind of toy around with it, and it might take a couple tries, but you'll have to figure out exactly what moves require what buttons. Most of the time it's triangle, but anytime he grabs you like this, you're gonna want to press circle instead, because that's kind of like the resistance button in these fights. And this fight's gonna take kind of long. You just kind of got to survive, and you got to get enough hits in there until eventually Sully will come to help you out. So it's just something you kind of got to bear through. And the problem is, on Brutal, you can only take one direct hit. If you get hit, you're just going to kind of want to back off and do your best to not get hit again. I know that sounds obvious, but if you take 2 hits, so right now I got hit, so I'm going to kind of back off and try to regenerate a little bit of my health, and then I'm just going to mash that triangle button, and then right here when he grabs me, I'm going to mash the circle button. So it's going to take a little getting used to. It might take you a couple tries. It took me 2, so this is my second try. I did die on my first attempt. But like I said, eventually the mechanics should click in, and you should be able to get through this just fine. And yeah, that's the final boss fight. You know, it's, in my opinion, the worst part of this game. It's just not very fun. Talbot's kind of lame. Marlowe was really lame. But other than that, the game is fantastic. The set pieces are beautiful. And, you know, yet again, it's just another well-done job by Naughty Dog. So this is a small price to pay to have such a fantastic game. It really is. I mean, this game is so much fun. Eventually, you're going to come to this part here. This is a scripted sequence, so he's gonna be forcing you, and this time it will tell you to mash the circle button. This is the only time it actually tells you what to do. And then what's going to happen is Sully's going to come rescue you, and that's the end of the tough part. So now you'll get a checkpoint, and now you basically just have to do a little scripted sequence of climbing and shooting, and that will bring about the end of Uncharted 3. So it feels really good to finish another game, especially another Uncharted game. Now I only have one more to go, Uncharted 4, and then I'll be doing Lost Legacy when it comes out. But as you guys know, this is my favorite franchise in all of video games. I love it to death, and I'm really glad to be bringing you this walkthrough. So I thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments below, and yeah, once again, just thank you. It means a lot that you guys are enjoying this, and I'm glad that I have viewers that look forward to watching these videos. So anyway, go ahead and climb up and carry on, and you will be done with Uncharted 3. Thanks for watching, everyone.
No good! Can't make it!
Salim! Buddy! Get on! Come on! Yalla!
My God.
Yalawi.
So much for immeasurable wealth, huh?
Well,
It's not much, is it?
it's enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, hold up a minute, Nate.
You okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I just got something needs saying, that's all.
All right. What is it?
Look, I had a lousy father, a lousy childhood. I hit 40, I figured I was never gonna have a son of my own. Hell, I never wanted one. What the hell do I know about raising a kid? Then you came barreling into my life.
Look, you don't have to.
No, listen, I do. I have made a lot of mistakes, kid. A lot. And, well, I am not a perfect man.
You're not proposing, are you, Sully? I mean, I love you, but...
Stop. Just stop being a wise ass for 1 second.
How long you been carrying that around?
Too long.
Thought I'd lost it.
Here's the thing, kid. We don't get to choose how we start in this life. Real greatness, it's what you do with the hand you dealt.
Hey,
Hey. Going somewhere?
maybe? I'm really sorry about your ring.
No. It's all right. I swapped it for something better. Let's get out of here, huh?
Yeah.
Come on, we're this way.
But
Come on. Trust me.
what are you up to? No way.
It's not as nice as the one you two wrecked 4 years ago, but it'll do. Come on. Let's see if I can remember how to fly the goddamn thing.
Hey, this has parachutes, right?
Oh, yeah.
3.
More or less.